The year is 1174 AD, and Egypt is under the control of Salah Ad-Din, who has established a new dynasty. As the episode begins, we see him walking through a busy market in Cairo, chatting amicably with common folk. He seems happy to be in the city and assist anyone in need. In fact, he is even seen helping an old woman cross the street. This scene establishes his reputation for piety and compassion. Then we transition to a map of the Egyptian coast. Two cities, Damietta and Gaza, along with the Kaaba, previously under Fatimid rule, have been liberated by the Muslims. We see Muslim troops taking over a well-fortified city. This victory brings back memories of Saladin's earlier conquests in Syria, when he recaptured cities like Homs and Aleppo from the Crusaders. As Salah Ad-Din prays at a grand mosque in Cairo, a diverse group of Muslims come together. There are some Shia, but they perform their ritual washing before prayer. While they pray, the camera focuses on the imam leading the congregation, emphasizing the transition from Shia to Sunni practices. The scene subtly illustrates how the majority of Muslims united against the Crusaders, setting aside their differences. This sets the stage for the rest of the episode, which will showcase the strength and unity of the Muslim community. But there is trouble brewing. Back in Naja's palace, a shoemaker is putting the finishing touches on a brand new pair of shoes. Unbeknownst to him, one of the shoes contains a small scroll with a message. It reads, "To the commander of the royal guard, do not trust anyone from the family of Zengid. They intend to seize the throne." Once outside, the shoe is placed on the doorstep of the palace guard commander. It is a risky move, but someone wants him to know about the potential danger posed by the Zanji family. Meanwhile, deep in the deserts of Nubia, an army of 30,000 Sudanese soldiers is preparing for war. Among them are elite troops wearing chainmail, elephant riders and foot soldiers. They march into Egypt, determined to wage jihad against the Muslims, but they will face fierce resistance. In the next scene, we see Saladin leading his army in a decisive battle against the Sudanese invaders. The Egyptian cavalry is powerful and disciplined, sweeping through the enemy ranks. Despite the initial chaos and close combat, Saladin's forces prevail. The Sudanese army is defeated, forcing them to flee across the Nile. It was a great victory that showed everyone the strength and skill of Saladin's military forces. Afterward, Salah Ad-Din returns to Cairo, where life has resumed its normal pace. However, there is still tension in the air as the Caliph's vizier, Al-Aziz Othman, approaches. He explains that the Caliph is unhappy with the situation in Egypt and wants Salah Ad-Din to come to Baghdad immediately. Meanwhile, back at the palace, Naya is also waiting anxiously for news from the capital. Soon, the answer arrives. Al-Aziz Osman returns from Baghdad carrying an official seal that grants him the title of Vizier of Egypt. This is a sign of the Caliph's trust in him and his ability to manage affairs in Egypt. Now the real test begins for both Salah Ad-Din and Naya. They must work together to secure their positions and fulfill the Caliph's expectations. However, this alliance may not last long as internal conspiracies threaten to tear their partnership apart. In a palace chamber, three men are plotting against Salah Ad-Din. They want to take over Egypt for themselves, and they believe that the best way to do this is to get rid of their current leader. The conspirators discuss their plan in hushed tones, aware that if their plot is discovered, they will surely be executed. They have good reason to be nervous. Meanwhile, the audience is shown scrolls and documents strewn across the floor, indicating that the plotter's treachery has been uncovered. The men try to flee, but they are caught and dragged away. One of the conspirators, a black eunuch, is thrown into prison. Another, a scribe, tries to defend himself, claiming that he was just lending his ear to the other man's complaints, but to no avail. Both men are stripped of their fancy clothes and locked up. Salah Ad-Din interrogates a scribe about his knowledge of the plot. The scribe confesses that he and two others plan to assassinate Salah Ad-Din and seize power. He reveals the name of their leader, Imara al-Yamani, a member of the royal household. Salah Ad-Din wasted no time in rounding up the conspirators. The first two were captured in their beds, while the leader tried to escape through the roof. But it was too late. The trap had been sprung. Salah Ad-Din confronts the ringleader, giving her a chance to explain her actions. She admits that she wanted to take over Egypt for herself, but denies the other charges. As punishment, she is banished from Egypt, never to return. Her accomplices are not so lucky. They are dragged away to be put to death. Back at the palace, Naija is informed about the foiled plot, but remains calm. She is worried about what will happen next and fears that she might be blamed for the treason. In another part of the city, Kanz ad-Dawla is rallying troops for a rebellion against Saladin. His brother, al-Malik al-Adil, is in command of the royal army, which includes heavy cavalry and regular foot soldiers. The rebels are defeated and driven out of Upper Egypt as Saladin rides his horse through the streets of Cairo. Celebrating his victory, a messenger arrives with alarming news. A Crusader fleet has broken through the blockade at Jaffa and is sailing toward Damietta. We now see the medieval port city of Damietta under siege. Crusader ships are anchored in a harbor, blocking the city's entrance. The Crusaders are eager to lift the siege, but Saladin's forces arrive in time to prevent them from doing so. After fierce fighting, the Crusaders retreat, leaving the siege of Damietta unbroken. Saladin's forces are victorious, but they know that the Crusaders will try again. Just then, Saladin receives a letter from the King of France asking for a truce. The French king promises to stop supporting the siege of Damietta if Saladin agrees to a ceasefire. Saladin refuses, saying that the only way to end the conflict is for the Crusaders to leave the region entirely. Despite the siege, life in Damietta goes on as usual. People pray at the mosque, shop at the market, and take care of their daily business. However, the atmosphere is tense and the citizens are eager for the siege to end. In Alexandria, King Balian of Jerusalem organizes a relief force to break the siege. Meanwhile, Saladin prepares to defend the city. His forces are ready and waiting, determined to protect Alexandria from the Crusaders. With the arrival of Balian and reinforcements, the Crusader forces grew, increasing the pressure on the city. For their part, the Muslims held strong, defending the walls with everything they had. Suddenly, a man appears in front of the gate with a white flag. He identifies himself as a representative of King Balian and demands that the Muslims surrender the city. If they refuse, the Crusaders will launch a full-scale attack and many lives will be lost. The Muslims respond that they would rather die than surrender their city to the Crusaders. With that, the man turns and leaves, returning to his fellow Crusaders. The Muslims on the wall watch him go, ready to fight to the death if needed. Meanwhile, back in Cairo, Saladin attends Friday prayers at a grand mosque. The event is led by an imam who delivers a sermon from the pulpit known as the mimbar. In this case, the imam is the Waziristan of Baghdad, a prominent religious figure who is visiting Cairo. During the sermon, the Fatimid Caliph is mentioned, but there is no longer any mention of the Fatimid Imamate. Instead, the Abbasid Caliph is recognized, reflecting the transfer of allegiance that has taken place since Saladin's rise to power. As the episode ends, the peaceful atmosphere of the mosque stands in stark contrast to the battles and conspiracies that have marked Saladin's reign. The future of Egypt and the region remains uncertain as external threats from the Crusaders continue to loom. The episode concludes with a sense of anticipation for what challenges and triumphs await Saladin in the episodes to come.